Hey, road trippers. Welcome to another episode of the pod. Look, my family travels. I've talked about this. My mom is traveling out here. I'm traveling for the postseason. I'm thinking about bringing my family with me to some of these games. Like, have you guys been stalling on booking a trip like I have? Well, the nerds at NerdWallet are here to help you take the first step towards making your dream a reality. NerdWallet's team of nerds research hundreds of the top credit cards, mortgages, and more so you can easily compare and find what's right for you. Maybe you're looking for some quality in-person fun with your friends, watching your team live in the NBA playoffs? NerdWallet can help you compare and find the right travel credit card with a sign-up bonus to use on flights to the game. Ready to compare your way there? Take the first step by discovering the smartest credit cards, mortgages, and more today at nerdwallet.com. NMLS 1617539.
I actually used to listen to Creed with arms wide open before games.
With arms wide open.
Welcome into this edition of Road Trippin with RJ and Channing. I'm your host, ALLIE Clifton. Richard is on his way. He is actually double dipping, and I am rushing things this week. He is coming back from NBA today. So I will take fault on this one, as I am rushing us, Channing. I want to know really quick before we dive in, your most exotic shoe behind you.
The most exotic shoe?
The most, like, people would be like, are you kidding? Or maybe the shoe that you're like, you won't wear, but you have to have in the collection.
I have two pair of these. I'll just show you my favorite. So I have two pair of these. One that I wear and one that I don't.
Ooh.
I think these are great.
Oh, those are
Summertime.
like the ice blue.
Yeah. And then, what else? That's really... I've worn mostly all these. Like, I don't wear these, but these are like felt. Very soft, like velvety. But yeah, this is a gift. The wife got me this, and then I got shoes on the ground and shoes. I got the LeBrons he gave us. Probably ain't wearing them bullshit ass shoes.
I was about to say, which ones did he give you guys? He gave you a pair of his own shoes.
A pair of his shoes. I wore these once in the 17 finals.
How'd they do for you?
And then I wore them. Not good. That's why. Never wearing them again. Plus, I didn't play in the 17 finals. I wasn't getting out on that court.
I am going to open up conversation because we are into the playoffs, and obviously Richard is going to have some things to say too. And Richard and I actually talked about this morning a little bit offline. What is your takeaway from the first weekend? Because you have to include the play-in tournament, and it's actually part of my thoughts here of the postseason. Let's just start there first. Your take.
This is probably the best postseason I've seen in a really long time.
Oh, really? You really feel that way?
I'll say that. I think so. I really feel that way because other than maybe the Golden State series where they're just on fire and Denver has no chance, and then Atlanta, Miami is cooking, and I don't think Atlanta has a chance. Every other series has a chance for each team to really make an impact. Like the way Brandon Ingram is playing to beat the Suns, plus that injury. Then you look, and I was talking to somebody today, and you look at the Nets-Boston series, and you go, the Nets have the best two players, but then then you look at Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. So they have 3 through 7, right? So it's like the two best players versus a better team. So that's interesting. I think, the Utah-Dallas is interesting because, and this is for better or worse, watching Utah implode is somewhat entertaining. And seeing Dallas being able to compete where Brunson's getting 40 balls, like what, against Utah? And it's not warranted at times, but the hate that Rudy Gobert gets is comical on Twitter. I know it sucks for him, but on Twitter, people blame everything on Rudy. Rudy could be on the bench, and they're like, damn it, Rudy Gobert, you're trash. It is not fair.
Okay, not too long ago, you had like the best way, actually not too long ago, like 6 months ago, You had the best way to describe
God.
the Jazz when it came to the postseason. I can't even say it out loud because I'm a female. I'm a woman. I probably shouldn't say it. But remember what you called the Utah Jazz of the postseason?
The Gonzaga of the NBA?
No. Okay, I have to go. The blue ball team.
Oh, Blue Balls. Oh, Blue Balls team. Yeah, oh, for sure. Any hope that you think that Utah's going to do something? Boop, right in the nuts. Not a
Why?
chance.
What is that?
I think they have a problem adjusting at times. I think it's personnel based. I also think it's like I complained about why not throw the ball to Rudy, and then you see him when he gets the ball, and you're like, you know what? I get it. I just don't think if you look at anyone there, no one has gotten better other than Donovan Mitchell, right? Like, it's developing as a player, you would think, oh, maybe he's going to get better. You know, he doesn't need to be a shooter. They don't need to be shooters. They just put pieces together. Bogdanovich, if he starts playing good, they can't win like that, right? Like, they can't win with Bogdanovich leading the team in scoring. They need Donovan Mitchell too, or Jordan Clarkson. And they're very metronome as a team, but they don't, it's hard for them to score, especially when Rudy's on the floor because you have another big that's playing it. I also don't think they have another star next to Donovan Mitchell. I think it's hard to win when you got two all-stars and one of them can dominate a game on the defensive end, but has trouble doing that on the offensive end.
But what is it? I mean, like all season long, how can you dominate throughout the regular season and then it be the complete opposite come the postseason?
During the regular season, it's hard to really like hone in and make adjustments for them. But you saw after one game, Jason Kidd like made one adjustment and was like, dude, Kleba, shoot the ball. He had 8 threes, right? There were so many uncontested shots. I think defensively, they have no wiggle room. It's like, send it to Gobert every single time. So guards are just getting blown by. I don't know what their defensive principles are, but they're not very good for stopping teams with 5 shooters.
And at the end of the day, they're getting Luka back. And so when you think of, you know,
That's not next game, not this game.
by game 4,
Eventually they'll get Luka. Yeah.
do you think the Jazz make it past
maybe
the
by
first
game
round?
4.
Do you think the Jazz make it past the first round?
No,
No.
I don't think so. Because now the problem. Okay, so what I think is the problem now is the Dallas Mavericks have made the proper adjustments to win, right? And you can't assume that Brunson's going to get another 45. But also strategically, how does Utah mix and match? Like, how do they adjust? Utah just says we need to do what we do better. Almost like the Atlanta Hawks. They play one way, and they're like, we need to play our way better. Whereas other teams like Boston or the Nets or Miami or you know, whoever else can make adjustments, whether that's not switch this, trap this guy, move, make him shoot, make them shoot. They, you know, those other teams don't really do that.
Okay, so that was the first playoff game to open up the postseason after the play-in games, right? So when Rich comes on here, we're going to have a conversation. And I started there by design thinking that he would be on here by now. Obviously, he's not. So let's jump to another series. And I actually saw your tweet, and it made me chuckle.
What did I say?
Denver matching the intensity of the Warriors is impressive. The Green Jokic battle is what I'm here for. How'd that work out?
Oh,
What?
not very good. But here,
Do you have PTSD from the Warriors like I do? Even though I didn't score a single point or played a single minute? That Warriors chant, I cannot.
bit.
I cannot. There he is.
oh, dude, they are absolutely cooking, and that's a problem. It's like when you have to double team Steph to leave a hot Clay in an unconscious Jordan Poole, and then, you know, Wiggins is, congrats, he was an all-star. He was not doing very good after the all-star break, but all of a sudden people forget he averages 20 in his career. So he's just chilling, like, oh, okay, I just get the, like, you're giving me the scraps and I can still get 20 or 18 or 15. And then defensively, like if you watch Denver cuts and moves and does all these things, they can't do that. They get no action playing Golden State because Golden State just switches everything. And then if you watch what's dangerous, and I didn't want to tweet this, but that Draymond is still not in playoff shape yet. You could see he's getting there, which is even more dangerous because when he's guarding Jokic with that much energy, he was like, okay, Looney, go get him. You can see him, he was gassed. But then, like, that's a problem. Yeah.
He's so important to their pace.
Yeah.
When Draymond can play at 100%, their offense moves faster. You already know what Steph and Clay and them are doing. So when he's able to play at 100%, that just makes their movement even crazier because he's popping the ball, throwing it, pushing, making everybody run. It becomes a problem.
See the versatility of Richard? It's like riding a bike. Thanks for being flexible. He has now joined us. And we've only talked about the Utah and Dallas series, so you haven't missed anything. With that said, I did want to take a shot. Huh?
Oh, yeah. With that said, who do you think wins the series?
Channing doesn't think the Mavericks get out of the first round. Or, I'm sorry, the Jazz.
I think the Jazz.
I think Dallas.
I think this is one of those series that regardless of whether or not they win, I think the whole organization knows that they need to do they're not going to rebuild. They're too talented, but they need to do a pivot. They need to do a pivot. I think
pivot for
pivot.
sure.
Yeah, a pivot. I think of
What's a pivot?
A pivot.
Not everyone knows what a pivot is.
A pivot?
It's what Ross did in Friends.
A pivot. It's like we were on a break. No, a pivot is more of like they are so talented and so good, but maybe that's not the Utah Jazz over the last 3-4 years and what they have done, but it hasn't really manifested. Imagine like the Clippers. The Clippers were like so good. They had, Chris Paul, they had Blake Griffin, they had DeAndre Jordan, they had Jamal Crawford, they had all of these things, and they couldn't get over that hump, so they pivoted. They moved guys, they tweak guys, and then like a few years later, it's Kawhi and Paul George. Now, I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but like that's not rebuild. That's not going like we're going to tank and get draft picks. No, your team is good, but you got to figure out the assets that have value, maybe trade away, maybe kind of retweak it. Rudy Gobert is a huge piece, but maybe he's not the one that pairs with the group or whatever. So I just think that's more of the pivot.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. So we're off that series. We're kind of into the Warriors series, but I was telling Channing without really telling Channing, I wanted to know his thoughts about the opening weekend of the postseason. And he thinks that it's the best postseason that we've seen in a long time. Now, we had other vibes and feelings. Shall we tell him, Richard?
Yeah, because, and Chang, I agree with you. I think the play-in games brought such excitement for, good postseason basketball. And I think the playing games were so much fun. But I think after that, I feel like there was kind of a drop. The Brooklyn-Boston series, which everyone believed was going to be great, that delivered. The Minnesota, if you take away that amazing Minnesota-Memphis series, like that one game that was great and everyone caught it off guard, everything else has been pretty bland. The Toronto series has been bland. The Miami series has been bland. The Milwaukee series has been bland. The Golden State one, bland, because you know that Denver is not just at full strength. So you just go down the list and you're like, even the Dallas series, Utah, it's Luka's out. So it's like, and then now with Phoenix, you got Devin Booker out. So it's like you look at it, and I think it's been good, but I think we're adding the play-in series to make it seem like this postseason thus far has been great, which I guess is fair.
But a good word that you use is like, it just feels come the postseason that it's flat. Mm-hmm. However, is that because there was so much hype, and there is so much that rides on those one and done opportunities for the play-in tournament, right? So it's kind of like we're all getting used to that aspect, and it's kind of done what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to have that NCAA feel, win or go home, right? Which we all hated 2 years ago. Remember the Lakers, they hated it. They could not believe that and now it's such a special and unique part where it kind of opening weekend, that first, like I sat there and I was listening to the Dallas Utah game and I was like, are there fans there? You could hear a pin drop in the first half. Like, no, it was a different feel, different vibe.
And the last thing I'll say about it is I think the last 2 years have generated, like, because of COVID, because of all those things, we had the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors in one play-in series. Then this year you had Cleveland, you had Atlanta, and you had Brooklyn in the next play-in. That's not always going to be like that. Sometimes it's going to be 4 shit teams battling out that no one cares about. This has just been like a random year because of COVID the last couple of years and because of injuries and COVID protocols. It's allowed great teams to drop down into those spaces. But we're only a couple of years away, or maybe next year, where it's a true 9-10 that no one gives a damn if they make it or not, and they're going to get swept in the first round. We're not far away from that.
I think, when I say good basketball, right, it's like anytime that LeBron steps away, the spotlight is going to a little bit of everyone, right? So, like, for me, if you think about the storylines, the Phoenix Suns are like this team going, everyone picked the Phoenix Suns to go to the finals. Devin Booker gets hurt. Brandon Ingram is playing out of his skull, right? And the play-in team Pelicans are tied with the Suns, which I don't know if many people thought, especially not after the first 2 games. Everyone was like, well, what is it like with Steph coming off the bench? Oh, don't worry about it. He got 34. Oh, is Jordan Poole, can he do this? Again, Jordan Poole going crazy. Draymond looking good. Clay looking good. And then you go to Miami, which a lot of people thought would be a team that can compete with the Nets and the Celtics and the Bucks. And Jimmy Butler's scoring 45, and they're looking hot as hell.
Jimmy Buckets is balling.
Then balling. But people forget
understand
he
what
was
you just
shooting 9% from the 3-point line. Oh, I have dad ears. I hear everything.
Scary.
And then, so for me, this first round thing and seeing Jalen Brunson ball is awesome. We always like seeing him do his thing. And then you realize how good of a coach Jay Kidd is. Because you're like, wait a second, no Luka. You got Jalen Brunson and Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber barbecuing the Utah Jazz. You're like, what? But again, it's those little storylines that I like. It's not just like who's dominating, other than the Bucks. The Bucks are beating the junk out of the Bulls. I'd be shocked if they win a game. But
Did they really? Did they really?
Who?
no, I said I would be shocked.
You think? No, I'm saying
If the Bucks
they beat the junk out of the Bulls, though.
I think they took their foot off the
beat
gas.
the junk
I
out
don't
of
think
Bulls.
they didn't blow them out, but the Bulls made it a game because they have the talent. But I think no one looks at that series and truly, especially if you look at the Bulls' history, they were getting booed 2 weeks ago. And
You guys got booed. You guys got
0-19
booed with
versus good
3
teams.
games to go in the regular season too in March. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's because we straight shut it down.
Yeah,
we were beating the junk out of teams, and we were getting the bench in shape.
You guys were having
49 minutes.
You guys were having behind closed doors team meetings about that shit falling apart.
Oh yeah,
in March.
we were just like, come on. Guys.
well, they fired our coach. It was bad, but look, we'll figure that out.
Since you guys are
But
2
that's what I
Phoenix
mean.
guys, we're
Right,
kind
go
of.
ahead.
Oh yeah, so that's what you're talking about. Basically, you want LeBron to get out the way so that you can experience good basketball. Okay, I got you. I understand all of it. That's basically what you just said.
Get his
Okay,
ass
we're
up out of there.
jumping around a little bit, but because you guys are 2 Phoenix guys, though, at times you guys don't claim that. Kyle Kuzma had an interesting tweet the other day, and I wanted to know if you guys agreed with it. He's very active on social media here in the postseason, and he said Phoenix best
We got
crowd
a lot
in
of
the
free time.
We got a lot of free time. We all are.
Oh yeah,
Phoenix
Be
best
with
crowd.
me.
Phoenix best crowd in the league.
Ooh,
Good. No.
Hey,
It depends on what your definition of
dude,
a great crowd is.
it's different.
It's like Utah, great.
It is
crowd.
a party.
Cleveland, amazing. Toronto, there's some amazing. To say best crowd, it depends on what your definition is of a best crowd. Because Boston, they just feel psychotic. The Knicks fans, I know we've only seen them in the postseason once, but I'm saying we only they're borderline crazy, but they'll turn on their team before they turn on the other team. It's just the crowd that to say best crowd, I don't know if that can be defined.
I would define it.
Okay, talk about it, Channing.
Number one, Phoenix people, the weather is good. It's a party.
It has
inside
nothing to
the
do
thing.
with the weather,
You
Channing.
got the.
It does.
Yes, it does. People are going in there with good attitudes, with short shorts, tank tops.
Stop it.
Like
Stop
the
it.
people look good. The rabbit.
Stop it.
Hey, Sons and Four guy is
Stop it.
hilarious.
I was in Denver.
Right? People forgot about him last year.
Weather has nothing to do with it because you guys
It
had
does-
the best
I would
crowds
say
at
this-
playoff
it's-
games
No, but let me
in
say
April
this,
in
Allie.
Cleveland too, and it was
Look,
snowing.
It's a
like
mindset,
Cleveland
Allie.
to me, and when I saw in the play-in was special. I was really bummed, but I will say this: there is something about being able to have an outdoor element, whether it's Jurassic Park, whether it's the Deer District, and there's so many places. You can't get that in Phoenix. You cannot get that because in June, it is 115 degrees. People aren't outside at beer gardens drinking and partying all day like they do in Milwaukee or like they do in Cleveland, like they do in Toronto. It like in the arena, it's amazing. The energy is great. It's not as corporate. This is what I'll say. Phoenix's arena is not as corporate. Like Golden State, their arena is super corporate because it's so expensive and the tickets are all purchased. But like in smaller kind of towns, there's less corporate. So there's more like actual true like fans in the building.
Okay, fair. I'll give you that. Okay, so then let's talk about fans that you guys were kind of just touching on. Is the Kyrie Boston fans best drama we have so far here in the first round?
No, I think it's DeMarcus Cousins and the Denver Nuggets. That is hilarious. But
Which
no,
part?
dude,
Him in the Denver
first of
Nuggets
all-
or him and George Karl and the Sacramento Kings?
Dude,
happened
him
with
and
George
George
Karl?
Karl, him and the team. George Karl, they were like, what player do you hate 10 years ago and today? And he just wrote DeMarcus Cousins.
George Karl?
Wait, that's real?
That is real. Or was that on Boss? Dude,
Did you
hold up.
don't tell me you
I
got
w-
balls.
Did I get ball sack?
Are you behind ball? Are you ball sack, Richard?
No, not yet. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No, that he tweeted, or whoever it is, I don't want to say he without knowing. He tweeted at me or something.
They.
They. Okay, that's the proper.
Are you doing an unboxing? Are you
I
doing an
did get ball
unboxing
sack.
for us on Road Trippin?
No, I'm going to show you guys something. I'm gonna see if it's proper. I thought you guys would like it.
I will as we are doing this so that we don't shortchange.
Oh, I got ball sack.
Did you?
Well,
was it really?
no. First of all, what I was talking about actually
it's-
is on ESPN.
Dude, look.
Who said? But I'm saying, is
Hold
that
on.
real?
You can't see it.
I can't see that on your screen.
The fact that
Here we
Channing
go.
just said I
I'm
got
sending it
ball
to
sacked.
you. Dude, I think he deleted it, but I'm sending this to you guys. Richard? He may have deleted it, but
I will
I think that's hilarious.
I will open up the actual thing I was talking about. DeMarcus Cousins on his time in Sacramento. What did Sacramento do for me besides say my name draft day? I did more for them than they did for me. I had 2 owners, 3 GMs, 7 coaches in 7 years. I was there 7 years. I had 3 GMs, 2 owners, and 7 coaches. George Karl responds with, paid you approximately $50 million and gave you the opportunity to play professional basketball for a living.
Shut up, George Karl. George, before, I'm not going to cuss, but like George Karl, his record is one of the more respected, but his reputation, who I just get frustrated, and I'm not going to question him as a man, but he's got enough things. To say that we paid you $50 million so that we could be a shitty organization, like, bro, like, acknowledge, like, the man is saying that, like, the only thing that they did was draft me. Like, George, you sound like a fan. We paid you a bunch of money. It's like, yes, but did you teach him how to be a professional? Now, I understand DeMarcus Cousins has his own things about him, but, like, did you teach him how to be a professional? Is anything that he is saying there, like, false? No, they have historically been, over the last 15 to 20 years, been one of the worst run organizations in sports. So, like, at that moment, George Karl, what do you have to say about him saying about how it was run? How many coaches have they had in the last 15 years? I think it's like, since they last made the postseason, they've had like 11 or 13, 15 coaches, multiple GMs, like multiple owners. That's not the sign of a good organization. So for George Karl to come in and say this, and I don't know if it's true, so we're going to do some fact checking before we put out there. I think that's very cowardly to tell a person, we paid you a bunch of money, just be happy. That's not the, like, happiness is not the happiness.
That part is true. That conversation, that's out on an NBA on ESPN. That part is true, that conversation that you just touched on. The fact that is not true is that Channing did get ball sacked. because this is George Karl's handle, the actual George Karl.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. So the one that Channing just sent to our text chain, yeah, that's wrong.
Okay, well, that's fine.
It's still funny. He probably will still say it, though.
Actually, you might be right. Now I'm just confused. You might be right. I don't know. That's rough, though. That's taking it to a whole nother level. The avatars are different, but he may have changed it because Coach Karl 22 is the same. I don't know. That's weird. Anyways,
if George Karl really said that, I think that's cowardice. The NBA's job when you draft a player, when you this, is to give him the most stable environment for him to flourish, not only for himself, but for the organization and college. Imagine if a player went to a university and had 3 different coaches, 2 different ADs, all of these different things, and the person that was at that university was like, "Shut up, we gave you a free scholarship." That's not what this is just about. Like that to me is clownish. And so, but everybody listen, that also goes to show you some of the mental makeups of the people that run these organizations. We're paying you money, shut up. It's like, well, you guys aren't running this company and corporation well. Well, shut up. We're paying you. Let us be bad at what we do. I'll leave it at that.
That part is true. That's a real thing that happened. The one you just touched on. But the Channing's, the DeMarcus first name last name's cousins, that might be we gotta figure that out. Just to clarify. However, it is fun with DeMarcus and the obviously Warrior conversation. I don't know about you guys, but it brings me back a lot of memories from y'all series and the way in which the Warriors can get under individual skins.
Oh.
They're problems.
Just the way in which they're playing right now. What?
They're problems. Golden State's a problem. Like they're gonna be an issue. And like again, like you can see how fragile it is. You look at Luka, you look at Devin Booker. You need a lot of things to go right to win a championship. A lot of things right. And even if you're 100% healthy, you still need luck. Even being 100% healthy, you need luck. So those Warriors, they are looking sharp.
What's a series that impressed you guys?
Yeah,
or
they had another
you got
level.
You got it, Channing, if you want to keep talking about them.
I was just saying they have another level. And then all these years, like Jordan Poole's development, like you look at Wiggins' development since he's been there, like how they move, and especially with Draymond, when Clay gets his feet down a little bit more, still getting in a rhythm. Steph is coming off the bench, which is like, who do you bring off the bench to be like, oh yeah, get ready to guard Steph? Like usually he's in your first group, but then everyone's like, oh well, you just can't scout for that.
Well,
like there's no scouting to.
Yes.
Like who do you put in,
You
Richard?
don't put in anything.
What 6 man do you
it's
put
just
in?
like, first of all, we know this. Your top 6 or 7 guys are going to play between 35 and 42 minutes. So whether Steph comes off the bench and then gets into the game, it's like the same guys are going to be guarding Steph. It's not like, oh, you change your rotations a little bit as a coach. The one thing that we know about Denver is that because of their lack of depth, right, they don't have many options, right? You know, Campazzo, Monte Morris, like, you know, Austin Rivers, like they don't have that many options because of their lack of depth. That's my only hesitation about watching teams like Miami, watching teams like Golden State, watching teams like Philly run through Toronto, watching these teams. It's like, okay, guys, with all due respect, you're kind of supposed to do that. You're kind of supposed to do that, and we will applaud that, but I can't go like, Golden State's going to win a championship. They're going against a depleted Denver Nuggets team and doing exactly what they're supposed to. I think a better judge of them is like if they play against Memphis in the second round. And if they're rolling through Memphis, then you're like, ooh, this is going to be a problem. If Miami starts rolling through Philly, you're like, ooh, this is going to be a problem. That's when you should get excited about this team and the way they're playing. Now, it could go quickly the other way. and they're not playing well against teams that they're supposed to dominate, right? Like Utah. Like those are the things that like can get people being like, oh, here these guys go, right? So I don't know. I just don't get too excited about great teams that dominate first round matchups.
I have a question for the both of you, but before we do, Rich, I think you want to share something with us, with our friends over at NerdWallet.
Listen up, road trippers. You still dreaming about a trip to the NBA playoffs this year? How about a trip to the NBA Finals? Well, what if we told you NerdWallet can help you take the first steps to make that dream a reality? NerdWallet's team of nerds research hundreds of the top credit cards, mortgages, and more so you can easily compare and find what's right for you. And since you're already planning on going to the playoffs, let's bring along a friend. NerdWallet can help you find a travel rewards card with a sign-up bonus to use on your hotel for your whole crew. Ready to compare your way there? Take the first steps by discovering the smartest credit cards, mortgages, and more today at nerdwallet.com. NMLS1617539.
All right, road trippers, have you heard about Prize Picks? Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Our entire crew loves it, and we know you will too. Prize Picks has the best NBA prop game across the market. They offer more NBA props than any other DFS operator, and they offer every player and stat category that you can think of. Want to get into the game now? There's no better time with the NBA playoffs now underway. All new users that make their first deposit and use the promo code Road Trippin will receive an instant 100% deposit match up to $100. All you have to do is pick 2 to 5 players and select an over-under on their daily projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry. It's just you versus the projected numbers. Prize Picks even allows mixed sport entries. Use the award-winning Prize Picks app, either on the App Store or Google Play today. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Make this year's NBA playoffs a little more exciting and enjoy a special bonus offer on us. Check out prizepicks.com and use the promo code ROADTRIPPIN, or go to your app store and download the app today. Remember, road trippers, Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. All right, Channing, it's another day, another dollar. You know we get up early. You know we need our greens. Are you still doing athletic greens?
Every day. It's actually the first thing I take in the morning. Helps me do my workout. Trying to stay in shape after being retired is hard, but if you have a healthy, nutritious drink in the morning, it makes you feel less fat.
That's actually a good point, and it's not that bad. It's 8 to 10 ounces of water, and I will say, before we linked up with them, and I read and I saw so many people doing it, I was taking like 7 to 8 vitamins every morning. And I know like it's part of our daily, but like opening a bottle and taking every one individually, but knowing that this supplement, 75 different vitamins and minerals, energy, clarity, as Channing mentioned, sometimes makes you feel less fat because you're motivated. You're more motivated. So Athletic Greens, that is our jam. Head over, check them out, Athletic Greens, and see how they can help you. Promo code, you see it below, Road Trippin', you know what to do. Channing, I have just recently started, well, more so since COVID, doing my therapy sessions via online weekly. I know that it's something that sometimes it just fits in the schedule. It's how it works out as things are kind of here and there on the go. And I've recently checked out BetterHelp.com. They have set us up. They've set so many individuals up, just the way in which it's easy. It doesn't always have to be in person. Sometimes you can feel more comfortable. I know it's something that you obviously are a big advocate of, especially when it comes to sports, something that we talk about, we are a part of on the daily, even since you've been retired, since I've stopped playing college basketball. Mental health is something that we all take very serious. And I know better health is something that we have loved getting used to.
It definitely is. Having, taking care of your mentals, as Marshawn Lynch says, is number one, man. If you gotta, if you're going through stuff, obviously the pandemic and just regular life happens, having someone with that much accessibility to you, being able to stay at home and go through a session is extremely important. Just somebody to talk to, somebody to express feelings, and maybe help you, be a better person.
Yeah, indeed. So we want to offer you, our listeners, our viewers, that access as well. In fact, your first month of services, you get 10% off when you visit betterhealth.com/roadtrippin. 10% off, betterhealth.com/roadtrippin. Road Trippin. All right, the question that I had, I know it's a very, very, very small sample size, but has any one team or series kind of surprised you or, stood out to you and showed you something that maybe you were expecting or maybe had a question coming in to the playoffs, the postseason? Channing.
To be honest, and I thought Toronto would put up a little better fight. Honestly, I thought, with their length, at times they struggle to score, which is hard to do but I didn't know if Philly's ability to get to the free throw line would transfer, and it has early on, and it gets their whole team into foul trouble. And, as deep as they say they are, they're really not. They don't have that much size. Like some of the guys are bringing off the bench, I'm like, damn, you did not sign up for that matchup. There is no way you signed up to guard Joel Embiid with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter and you're already 2 bigs down. That's like playing me against Kevin Durant, like in the NBA. You're like, what are you doing? But they don't have bodies, man. And you look at Philly and Joel Embiid's doing his thing. But the problem is Tyrese Maxey is on all cylinders. Tobias Harris is doing his thing. I'm curious, but I thought Doc Rivers made a good play by not starting Thibault so that it doesn't mess up the lineup when they go to Toronto because he didn't take the second shot. So now you're getting, like, Danny Green's getting more minutes. All these guys are getting more minutes and getting into a rhythm. When I saw Danny Green dunk, I said, drug test that man. Damn, his knees more knocked than mine right now. But he out there booming. They're rolling. But again, I want to see them when they got to play in Miami, where they got 3, 4, 5 guys that can be physical with Joel and then keep other people in front.
I thought that if Toronto could win one in Philly, no Scotty Barnes in game 2, that hurts. They don't know his status. That sucks because I love his game. I thought then, oh wow, they could go in.
He's like a way better version of you.
They could go. They're what? What'd you say?
I said he's a way better version of you.
Like way better hair? Not joking. He's really good. No, I thought that if they win one, if they were to hypothetically win one there, then go into Toronto with no Matisse Thybulle, I thought they might win one there, and then you have a series like 2-2, a little battle. But again, I'm still not 100% sold on that Philly's just going to sweep them. I think Toronto's going to be, we all know that Toronto energy and their crowd, and they get so big. Are they allowed to have a crowd? Do they have crowds now?
They switch up every week. So
yeah, I'm not sure if Toronto's going to have their crowd because of like COVID and stuff like that. Well, it was a different country, different rules and regulations. I get it. But that's also why they can't play in there because you can't play without, having all the stuff. Anyways, my point is that I thought that series might be a little better, but the injuries and then all this stuff, that's kind of offset that because if you take away Matisse Thybulle, who is a game changer with like the perimeter guys of Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, Van Fleet, Gary Trent, like all of those guys, I thought it was like that's a lot of perimeter firepower to lose one of the best defenders in the league. So that means that's more James Harden, that's more Tyrese Maxey, that's more Tobias Harris, that's more guys that like are okay to solid, but like it gives Toronto the advantage. The only series that I think got off to that cool start with the game 1 was the Memphis-Minnesota, but I think part of that was because Minnesota was in like a do or die situation and they showed up still feeling like they were in a do or die situation. And then I think after winning that game, they kind of took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. It wasn't as competitive. You saw it was competitive in the first half. And in the second and third quarter, they got clapped. Minnesota got clapped. And then the game was pretty much over. So I think that series, I think Minnesota's not done winning games. I still think Memphis should be favored in that series. But those are the only ones. Everything else, Golden State, I'm not. Like the Dallas series, Utah, that's tough because of Luka. Like it's the rest of the series are kind of like ho-hum.
Were you guys okay? Because we haven't had a podcast since it happened, though I know it's happened, and I know we're excited to have JJ Redick on our podcast. But on his podcast, he was very adamant about his thoughts about the way in which Minnesota celebrated. Were you on the? I know, Channing, you had a thought. You tweeted back at JJ, saying that it's good. It's like
Oh,
It's funny. It's awesome.
What did he say?
that's great.
What
But
did he say?
dude, it's like JJ was like, you got to respect him. It's like you say like act like you've been there before, but none of them have been there before, right? So it's like you got to allow them to enjoy this moment, putting that much passion and energy into that game. And I'm like, yeah, totally. Like you can act any way you want, but just know I'm here for Black Twitter. And they were roasting the shit out of them for acting like it was a championship. But that doesn't mean I don't respect Minnesota. I also thought for them, that was, I don't know if they meant to do it on purpose, but nobody talked about how garbage Karl Anthony Town was. They were talking about Patrick Beverley, Anthony Edwards, and D'Angelo Russell, and they're celebrating, right? I mean, they did talk about Cat smooching his girl in front of everybody, but that's neither here nor there. But like, they were only saying good stuff. And nobody, let's be real, nobody watches Minnesota. Now, more people are like, dude, I kind of like that really annoying Pat Bev guy. You know, he's like the cat that claws on the back of your clothes. You know, and I think Anthony Edwards has taken over as the best player on that team.
The best player on that team so far from the play-in on. I like the emotion because I like the emotion. Like obviously we can, if you can crack jokes about something and still love it and respect it, right? Because people are still fucking talking about
like what I do with you, Richard. Except I don't respect you.
Oh, did you guys just have a moment? That was cute.
Me and Channing had a moment. No, I think people are still talking about how this Phoenix Suns moment started when they went 8-0 in the bubble. People are still, remember when they went 8-0 in the bubble? And it's like, yo, they went 8-0 when half the teams were either resting or sitting their guys or did it. And that's not to deplete it, but it's like this goes in stages. Greatness comes in stages. The Warriors weren't the Warriors before. They won a first round matchup the first year they made to the playoffs. The next year they got swept they got not swept, but they lost to the Clippers, and then they let go of Mark Jackson, then they brought in Steve Kerr, and then the team took off. So if you don't enjoy every phase of this, and I'll give one more thing. We have, as basketball players, have constantly talked about one thing: baseball. No one is going to believe this. We have always been jealous that baseball, they rage whenever they win. You can't tell the difference between them winning the wild card and them winning the World Series. That's part of the baseball tradition. Like basketball has started doing water fights and doing stuff trying to, but those guys,
water fights.
They wear glasses, they wear goggles, they do all of that stuff, and they win the wild card. So that's a tradition in baseball that like we all like, man, we got to like win the first round, dap hands, and like our job's not finished. It's like, yo, let's celebrate this fucking portion. You know how many teams don't make it to the second round? You know how many teams don't make it to the conference finals? You know how many teams don't make it to the postseason? Celebrate it. Celebrate these things that guys can go their whole professional careers and never experience and might not ever experience again.
Did you guys see, I am all over the place, but I'm kind of like on it right now in the zone.
I'm digging it.
Did you guys like the
on
defensive
it.
player of the year choice?
Yeah.
Agreed with it?
Yeah. Agreed, because it wasn't just 1 year.
I thought they were the best team after the whole year. Like other than the first, I think 25 games, 35, they were the best team in basketball. Had the number one defense. And if you watch them, Marcus Smart, once they made that transition, he was really the leader. He was an absolute animal. Teams couldn't even start their offense, right? Because he's just hounding their guard. And that's where the defense start. If you can't start your offense near the three-point line, you can't play basketball. And Marcus Smart was everywhere. Guarding, bigs, guarding smalls, steals, charges, like just overall communication. So, you know, give him his due for his body of work.
I like it because he has been a great defensive player for years. Right? He's been a great defensive player for years. My sleeper, and I remember telling Matisse Thybulle this, when he was like a rookie. I was like, hey, I saw him. I was like, yo, man, I'm a big fan. Loved your game. I watched you at Washington. This is when I was covering the Pac-12. And I remember watching this guy, and you can see he's not a scorer. He's an athlete, he can do some things, but not a scorer. And I was like, this guy needs to be a first-round pick. What he does is so unique in the way the league is, and he gets into the late first round. Philly does a great job. Even talked to Doc Rivers, and Doc Rivers was like, because I was like, yo, he broke Gary Payton's, just for instance, to give you people a Matisse Thybulle and how we were talking about he's an impact player. he broke Gary Payton's all-time Pac-12 steals record. Gary Payton, 4-year player, one of the greatest of all time.
Damn.
Then you see that Marcus Smart is the first guard to win Defensive Player of the Year since Gary Payton. So that just shows you the class of Matisse Thybulle and Marcus Smart. So I love that Marcus Smart has been a defensive guy for multiple years. Finally, his team is the best defensive team. They're the number 1 seed, and he has played a great year. That should be rewarded, no different than we reward MVPs to teams that are the number 1 seed and have blank, 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 blank. They fit all the criteria. He fits all the criteria. He deserves it.
Is there anything I'm missing basketball-wise before we get into some fun stuff that has to do with basketball as well? Nothing great.
I feel like there was one thing.
Well, if it comes up, then just say it. But
Great.
with that said, take a shot.
No.
Jimmy Butler. I loved his comment about what he does on game days, and it made me wonder what you guys used to do on game days. He listens to Backstreet Boys, he plays spades, and he drinks his coffee. Anything he can do to get away from basketball but stay competitive is his jam on game days.
Oh.
So, what did you guys used to do on
Who's he
game
playing
days?
spades?
His buddies, his friends,
Who was he playing
his
spades with?
guys.
What about on the road? Like his teammates?
On the road? You just
Oh, I don't know about on the road, but like yesterday before the game.
I mean, it worked. My man at 45. Maybe I should have played spades.
I everybody's got their own thing. Like it's like the one thing that I try to tell anybody that's in any space is like find what works for you. Like I forgot who it was. It's like Perk and Keith Bogans. These guys would listen to like R&B. They would listen to R&B like I don't want to say slow jams, but they would be listening to just like real chill music before the game. Yeah, I'm not saying the slow jams, but they would listen to like R&B music before the game. It would just kind of relax them and get their mindset. Me, I want to be amped up. I want to fucking run through a brick wall, right? So like everybody has their different things. So find what works for you. And if that works for Jimmy Butler, I think that's dope.
I actually used to listen to Creed with arms wide open before games.
With arms wide
Drinking and hanging out with
open.
them back in the New York days.
Creed?
I swear.
Creed?
Stop
Yeah.
it.
Stop it.
The lead singer.
Richard, you look like a Creed listening
No,
motherfucker.
but it was like I just remember like when Creed, like no one liked Creed, but everyone liked Creed. They were like the '90s version of kind of like Nickelback or whatever. Now everyone kind of shits on Nickelback, but it was like a bunch of their songs, and it was just like I remember the first time I met him, like he was just a really chill dude, and then we kept running into each other in like random places, so we just used to have beers, and then again I was like,
Did he sign
I
your
didn't own a
CD?
CD of Creed. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my God, I had it in my Discman, my little Walkman all the
Probably
time.
downloaded it illegal.
Um,
You look like-
How do you guys feel about father versus father smack talk that's happening and
Love
getting legit airtime on the broad? Yeah,
Love
we're
it.
fans of it.
Love it. Well, number one, I think you look at it as like you don't ever see dad's parents other than Steph Curry that are up in the media. What other parents are up in the media? It's been Karl-Anthony Towns for years. It's been John Morant for years. You don't see Kyrie's dad up in the media like that. I like that. LaMelo Ball,
Lamonzo.
Lamonzo.
That was a good one.
LeVar Ball, Lamonzo. That's all of them put together. So that's what I'm saying. Some new, fresh blood. I wasn't trying to say, oh, NBA players don't have dads. I'm trying to say this is new, fresh blood that's in there.
And I like that they're
liked it.
taking the moment to like actually do the in-broadcast interview. To your point. Like you'll see the parents, by the way, shout out Riley Curry. Do you guys remember when she was like 2 years old sitting at the press conferences with Steph, and the other night they showed her in the stands on her cell phone, damn near like 13 years old. She's only 7, but my gosh, is she like a beautiful little grown woman, little girl. She's not even a woman yet. She's a little girl. But to your point, like they pan them in the crowd, but to see them actually, it made me think that, oh, one day maybe Hendricks and Lil Rich will both be in the NBA and we might get an interview with Richard and Channing.
No, that would be bad for both.
I
of
don't
them.
know about my kid.
They would just
Little
want-
Rich, maybe? I don't know about
Listen,
Hendricks.
We've
That
both
boy.
been around Luke. enough where like Luke disassociates himself from Bill as quickly as possible because they're like,
Oh,
"Yo,
does
my
he?
dad's crazy." Not in a funny way, but I will say
Like
this:
in a
I love
in
it.
a
I was
funny
at the
way.
game, and they were enjoying some beverages as you should, as I would if my son was playing in the playoffs. Even if my son was the 12th man, I would be out there drinking, cracking jokes. We kicking it,
Oh,
but
we kicking it.
there's one beautiful
We in
thing
the
that I want to
suite,
make sure
baby.
everybody knows about Karl Anthony Towns' dad and John Morant's dad. They have so much fun and respect for each other. They're out there talking trash in like the most beautiful of like friends way. I don't know if they have history, but they out there laughing and joking in the middle of the game, pre-game, just like having fun. They were making a joke about whoever wins the series, the other dad is going to have to wear the jersey to the next game. And I think that's beautiful, man, because sports can be competitive. Sports can be intense. And I even saw the one where Karl Anthony Towns fouled John Morant. No, maybe didn't get away with it. But he kind of dead that screen, and John Morant was on the ground on like a leg contusion. It's like, there's parents out there that'll be like, he's trying to hurt me. It's like, yo, they're out there competing. And that is a dream. If you are a father, and maybe not everybody's dream is different, but to see, someone that you respect. If Hendricks and Channing, or if Hendricks and Lil Rich were out there competing, him and I would be doing the exact same thing. Cracking jokes, making fun of each other. So
for
I think
sure.
that's beautiful. And I think sometimes parents can get a bad rap in sports, but I think sometimes you also have to highlight when you see something that's genuine and respectful and enjoyable.
Yeah, I like when remember when Kat I think it was Wiggins. It was after their mom died or something. But Karl Anthony Towns' dad went up to Zach LaVine after I think he became an All-Star for the first time or something like that, and gave him a huge hug, like congrats. And so like that of like congratulating, it just doesn't seem that there's any hate in their body, right? And they're just like, man, we're all on this stage. I'm supporting you. My son is out here competing, but I'm supporting you. I'm supporting him, and just having a good time, like Richard said. But I'm glad that that's being showcased because a lot of people don't see that, right? A lot of people, you wouldn't see it unless the camera was on them and they wanted that, right? And so that's what I am continually trying to say is I like these stories.
I like those stories too, Channing. Channing, have you watched Winning Time?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously, Richard, you have as well.
I'm up to episode 5.
How
I think it's
spicy is the
hilarious.
How spicy
I think
is the
it's
Jerry
hilarious.
West take?
Dude, I mean, it's not me, so I can laugh at it, but like, I'm just like, dude, there's no way that's you. So just like enjoy it. More people are looking up who the hell Jerry West is now than ever before almost, which is crazy because he's the dang logo. Like, it's
This
just
is
like,
the
come
part
on, man.
that I will say. And I hate, like, I know I'm a natural contrarian. Like, because it's more fun just to go against anything people say and challenge your brain to come up with a contrary, like, statement. But if you know Jerry West, he's dealt with depression. He's openly talked about that. Like, whether I think it was his father was an alcoholic, just some of the things that he dealt with. So to make a mockery of that man, I think I could, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you already know somebody has some issues, right? Like, he has some issues and been open about his issues. But, like, they're saying, like, he's like, I never threw my trophy out the window. I never screamed and yelled this. I never was laying in a bed, like, in my underwear, like, or, like, not, like, like hiding from the world. I think as much as that is fodder for us and it makes the story great and adds an excitement because you have this lovable guy in Bust and then you have this crazy wild card in Jerry West. But he was saying it's like, that's not who I was. So like for a person that we know has dealt with mental health issues, right? And that's a big hot button issue. And for this man who is, damn near probably 80 years old right now, who was open and talked about it before it was talked about. So then to have a depiction of his life be so negative and kind of like, that's not true. There's no statements there that are saying that this is true. It wasn't in the Winning Time book. That's the number one thing. The book, it's based off the book. That wasn't in the book. These depictions of Jerry West. So to kind of have a person be vulnerable and open up to try and help people and to tell his story than to have a person depict him, Adam McKay, depict him in a light that isn't accurate, that can be hurtful to an individual. And it's like, imagine if they made up a story about Ben Simmons who was dealing with some mental health issues and they made it so far off of what it was and what he felt like there's nothing that's accurate. Ramona Shelburne said the same thing. She was like, there is some legal ramifications. There are legal ramifications. That's why he's asking for an apology. He's like, yo, you're saying stuff and you're doing things that aren't accurate, and you're depicting me in a way that is hurting my brand, that is hurting who I am and what I have built. And that's where like there is some issues there.
Question. Don't they already say like up front that there is some things that are false and not actual?
Yes,
like, don't they say that at the beginning, and that's part of like the movie or that's the series?
Yes.
And making
they do say that, Allie. But the issue with that is that just because you say that doesn't mean you get to turn somebody into like a crazed animal.
Because they're an actual individual.
Like you can't say, hi, I'm Jerry West, I'm crazy. like you can't do that, right? Just because you're like, some of these things have been, this, blah, blah, blah. Just because you put out a disclaimer, right? And that's what he's always asking for with Adam McKay. And it's like, and they're probably going back before, like what they don't want to do is have Adam McKay come out and say, hey, we did this. And now that you've confessed to it, then he sues you. Right? Saying like, oh, you've confessed. Now you've sued you and we've had your confession. So he's probably like, hey, as long as there's no lawsuit involved, we will come out and say like, hey, these depictions, we apologize for depicting, Jerry West in this manner. He's a respected person. And like, this was part of to add a little bit of flair and intensity to the story. That's probably what he's looking for. But you got to be careful about coming out with a public apology for your depiction of someone, because now you also then have confessed to put yourself in a position for a lawsuit.
And you basically have to list every single thing that was false.
Yes.
Because if not, then
I don't know
you're
how that
basically
works.
just doing what they said at the beginning. Anyways,
Yes.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Okay.
There's a lot.
Before we wrap this
Great
thing
show.
up,
Go watch it, everybody. Great show, though. That being said, great show. Go watch it.
Richard, that commercial you're in.
I'm actually wearing the hoodie right now, in the same hoodie that I was in that commercial.
Oh, we know.
No, I
you only
actually-
got about 3 hoodies.
It's my actually biggest
I have like
faux pas. Wearing things
What?
twice. Just
That's
saying.
your yeah. So everybody that doesn't know, Allie never wears the same thing on her twice.
Wearing things twice. I'll put.
What are you talking about?
Reverse this bitch.
I will wear the same black hoodie with 4 different sport coats over it. And just for all the people that like to tell me how much they don't like my hoodie look, I don't care. Like, it's awesome. I don't like, if you have to work every single day in television, like, come at me, bro. Like, if you got to come in every single day with a shirt and tie and a suit and all, I owned like 2 suits, and one of them I had made because we wore it to the ESPYs. That was one of the 2 suits that I retired. Everything since then is an addition to my wardrobe.
I will say, between people always commenting on Channing's attire,
Yeah, I got
when
6
he goes
blue
on air and
jackets.
his suits and his glasses, and
Are
your
you
hoodie
liking
talk.
the hoodie look? Are you not
Oh.
liking the hoodie look,
Man, listen.
Allie?
No, because you listen. Look, my hoodie, I get too sweaty.
I thought you got Botox.
So number one, at NBA TV, everyone, I haven't got it in a while. I'm saying lockdown. But everyone wears ties and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? Let's spice this up. I'm working for 6 fucking straight hours talking about basketball. Let's put a little Hawaiian shirt under the thing. Let's unbutton 3 buttons like Richard likes to do, like he's a sommelier at a
Sexy,
French
though, man.
restaurant. I wish I could wear t-shirts. I don't like wearing suits unless I'm going to a wedding. So for me, putting on my same dang blue jacket, I got 5 blue jackets,
lying.
all
He's got
shades
3.
of blue,
He says that.
and I'm
He's got
rocking
3.
one of
He's
them
saying
bad
he's got
boys.
5. He's lying.
No, I've shown pictures. I got 5.
I like
At least
I
5 what?
Blue jacket.
I'll even
blue
give,
jackets.
I'll even give another ad. So Lululemon makes these black like dress pants, right? They make black dress pants. So I have like 5 blazers. I have like 5 blazers that go with black dress pants, but I have 2 Lululemon pants. This is what I do. I work out. I work out. I shower at.
In said black Lululemon pants.
No. I shower. I work out. I dress. Then I drive to the studio. And I have like all of like my like suits and stuff kind of laid out there. And I have like 2 pairs of Lululemon. And it's like after like, I don't wear them every day, but like after like a couple weeks, because that's it. You put them on, you take them off, you work for an hour, and then you just hang them back up and you keep it pushing. I'm not out here
Sick.
trying to make
I
a
could
cut.
never do that. I could never do that. Oh, no, I
What?
could not. I can't.
Allie, I have pants at NBA and Turner Studios from year one.
Stop
I've been
it.
there 3 years. I have the same pants. I'll put them
But
bad
women are
boys
also
on.
unfairly-
Jacket, hey. Dry
Yeah,
cleaning in hotels are
women
expensive.
also unfairly judged. Like I could wear the same coat. I can wear the same black coat
Oh, that's
and
not even
white
fair.
shirt for a month straight, and like people might pick up on it. If a woman were to wear a dress 3 times in a year, people would point to it, and like that is unfair. And I think part of
it's
that,
so
and
unfair.
I'm not going to speak on ALLIE, but I think that might breed some self-consciousness for some people that make them like, I don't want to wear multiple things or have people see it, so I don't want to get that type of like annoying, shitty criticism in social media. So I like, as much as we can talk about how easy it is, I want to give a compliment to you, ALLIE, and all the women in the industry that have to deal with that BS. All of them that have to deal with
All
that
the
negative BS, because we're all teammates, we're all partners. And so it's like, whether it's Malika or Ramona Shelburne or whoever it is that has to like constantly every single day come up with something new to wear, that adds another component to not just doing your job. And that part sucks. But you know, shout out
Thank
to
you.
all the ladies in the
That's so kind
I
of
got
you.
you. I got
Yeah.
you.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Besides the fact that I've had to generate a whole new closet on Poshmark because I can't wear the same thing twice because
Go
of
check
being
out
unfairly
Allie's
judged.
closet.
Thanks. Actually, it's shut down. I'm done. I'm onto a stylist. With that said, take a shot to end this podcast. We got to wrap it up because I have to run this time. Usually it's you guys dipping out for all your extra
Where you gotta go,
curriculars. But I got to run. I got a doctor's appointment.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing fun. Nothing fun. Okay, if you like, love, and enjoy everything that you're listening to and watching with Road Trippin, you know what to do. Rate, review, subscribe, call us, text us. Our number is 657-5 call RT. Until next time. See you later.
Love you guys.